Hello, my name is Lee Presser. This is my show. I speak frequently to very interesting people. Some of these conversations are so exciting, so intellectually stimulating, I thought others might like to listen in. This is the reason we started recording Conversation with Lee Presser.
Welcome to Conversation with Lee Presser. Breaking with decades of tradition, a Republican was elected as the Madison County Illinois Recorder at the November 2010 election. Matt Rice, a young man from the Alton-Wood River area of Madison County, won that race by a stunning 53 to 47% margin. This is not the first time Mr. Rice had won elected office. In 2005, at the age of 25, he was elected as the Wood River Township Clerk. That township is one of the largest in southern Illinois. While serving as clerk, Mr. Rice saved taxpayers over $100,000 in insurance premiums by changing general liability, workers' compensation, and health insurance providers. He is with us today to describe the function of the Recorder's Office and why he wanted to be at its head. Matt Rice, welcome to Conversation.
Hello, Lee. Thanks for having me on today.
Great. Well, so was all that information right?
Yeah, that was accurate, yes.
Yeah. So what makes you want to be, well, first of all, what is the Recorder's Office do, and what functions go on there, and how does it affect the public?
Well, the main function of the Recorder's Office is to record all the real estate transactions that take place in Madison County. We have, any number of documents you can think of, deeds, mortgages, things of that nature. Anyone can come in and view anyone's information, and it's all public record. And we maintain the history of Madison County's property transfers. Madison County was founded in 1812, and we have documents from 1812 that we maintain and make available for public view. Mm-hmm.
It used to be that all this stuff was handled on big books. Mm-hmm. Have you seen these big books?
Yes, we still have many documents.
You handled them? Mm-hmm. I mean, I know something of this office. I've been in there like years and years and years ago and looked through this stuff that descriptions that, as you said, go all the way back to the founding of the state of Illinois.
Yeah, we have everything was traditionally handled in big books, handwritten, again dating back to 1812, which is, we're coming up on 2012, which Madison County is going to have its 200th anniversary, which is kind of exciting. It's kind of neat to think that you can go into the office and view records that come back, go back to the very beginning and inception of this county. It's amazing to see what condition they're in and how they've been kept, and we're constantly restoring them, the books, and keep them in order. So we have that for future generations to come in and see how things were done and to see who owned things and how they've been passed down through the years.
Have you ever seen these old maps of what Madison County used to look like?
Yes, I have seen a few of them. We have a few in the office.
Madison County used to be like most of the state of Illinois.
It used to come from here and stretch all the way as far east as the Wabash River. So yeah, it was
and all the
pretty
way
large.
Up to the where's the Wabash? Is that to the?
That's toward the east, toward the Indiana border.
Okay, but I know it went all the way up to the northern border of Illinois. So I mean, only really the southern part of Missouri or of Illinois was not part of Madison County at one point. And then they started changing that as
they started dividing things up, and as the county was divided, those records were transferred. The records that affected the counties that were created out of Madison County were transferred into the new counties that were created at that time, or as they were created over time.
So we were talking about big books, but you don't use big books anymore. And what you said, I think, is that every time somebody buys or sells property, that those records come to your office and are put into savings there.
Yes, they are. Everything.
How does that happen?
Well, currently when things come in the office, there's a number of ways they can come in. They can come in through the mail. They can come in over the counter. We have a new method of receiving documents called electronic recording, which I can get into in a little bit. But traditionally what happens is the documents come in, they're checked for accuracy to make sure that they have everything that's needed, notary signatures, parcel ID numbers, legal descriptions of properties. As the documents come in, they're checked over and accepted. Once they're accepted, they are recorded, and once recorded, they're scanned into a database where we can view the images electronically. So if someone comes in the office and purchased their home 10 years ago, we can go in, type in the parcel ID number, physically click on an icon and pull up an image of their deed, which is pretty neat.
Well, you said parcel number. Do most people know what that is?
The parcel number is just an identifying number of your property. It has the township that the property's in.
What's a township?
A township. A township is a political subdivision. It's between a county and like a village. So there'll be a number of villages make up a township, possibly. Some townships, like Alton or Granite City, just have the one city within them, or Edwardsville. It's essentially a political subdivision that divides the county into voting precincts, towns, things of that nature.
So the county receives these documents, and people can identify their own documents. Where would they find this property number?
Where they find this property number?
Yeah. So they would
the
know
most
how to
common
look.
place for a person to find a property ID number that they would see often would be on their tax bill. When you get your tax bill, your property ID number is on there, and that's the most common way that people would see it from year to year. Other than that, they'd have to go back and look at their deed or their mortgage.
So if they wanted, for whatever reason, to come in, as you said, that they would just really take a look at their tax bill.
Well, we can also search by name. So if they come in and tell us their name, we can look up, try to narrow. You know, if it's a common name like Bill Smith, it might take us a little bit to find it, but we can find it that way too.
Why does it work that way? Do you know? I mean, why have they always had like recorders that record all these deeds?
Well, they have the recorders to record the deeds, so a chain of title can be followed on property, so people's property rights are protected. Without that, without having a place where all these records are kept and maintained, it would be a free-for-all out there. People making claims on land that may or may not be theirs.
So the only thing that counts in terms of ownership of property, we're talking about the ground itself, is what it says in your office?
Yes. What
So
it says in the deed in my
people
office.
may think they own a fence, but when it's surveyed and it turns out that it's on someone else's property next door, that's all backed up down there at your office. And
So
where
we
is
backed
your
up our
office,
first-
by the way?
My office is in the administration building in Madison County, which is on Main Street.
In Edwardsville?
In Edwardsville, yes. We're on the second floor, Suite 211. And we're
then
open to the public, and anyone can come in and view anything at any time.
Well, it's pretty interesting. I mean, well, let me put it this way. In years gone by, it was pretty interesting to go in and see the big books and look through all this stuff. I myself came there on numerous occasions to look up some land that I own and scanned back through time all the way, to the early days. And it's amazing how some of the parcels started out, huge, and then over the years, they get subdivided until finally you're down to my little piece of property there.
The one parcel that your home sits on. It is interesting to see who owned it and how it went about being divided to get to the point that it did.
And it's also interesting how, like when they built Illinois 159 back in the 1930s, all the right-of-ways that had to be granted by the various property owners.
Yeah, the easements and right-of-ways are all recorded in the office too, so people can go back and see how that all came about, which is very interesting.
This is a pretty
for the
technical
history.
job. I mean, is there some particular reason you wanted to be this technical guy?
I just wanted to serve the public. Ever since I've been in college, I was interested in running for office, and I was interested in being a public servant. And I've been fortunate enough and blessed enough to have the opportunity to be able to serve the people of the county in this capacity. It's been very interesting. It's been very fun to learn all these things about the county, to see the different people that come into my office, the title companies who do research, the genealogists, all these different folks. It's been very fun. Been very fortunate to be able to have this opportunity.
But not all the records are on electronics, are they? I mean, at a certain point, they went from the books to electronic, and they didn't go back and start changing or adding the books to the electronic stuff, did they?
No, we haven't been able to go back.
About what year were we talking as the dividing line?
Well, let's see, 97 was the first year that the documents could be viewed electronically. Before that, from 1970 to 1997, all the documents are viewed on microfilm, which we still do put documents on microfilm, and we ship them off to a secure location in Utah, just in case some disaster had happened to sweep through the courthouse, and we know we have backups of all these records.
Oh, that's good. So all microfilm or microfiche?
Microfilm.
Microfilm is all stored away somewhere.
Yeah, it's all stored away. We still have some in our office that we use for the records from 1970 to 1997, but the rest of it are that and the new things are all shipped out to Utah and stored for safekeeping. And
so you just wanted to be of service, huh?
Yes, just wanted to be of service.
Yeah. Well, and I said that you had previously been the clerk of Wood River Township, and before that you were involved in college or high school, or I seem to recall something from your resume that you were a class president somewhere back there.
I was a class president in high school, vice president 1 year.
Where'd you go to school at?
I went to Civic Memorial High School in Bethalto. Graduated there. I went to Lewis and Clark Community College in Godfrey, got an associate's degree. Went to SIU Edwardsville, received a bachelor's degree in political science, and then I went on to receive my master's degree in public administration.
So you have the qualifications to at least lead this team.
I would like to think so, yeah.
Yeah. So what's new for this department? Anything, or you're just rolling along the way that you have been? I mean, you just came into office effective December of 2010, so you're not even there.
I'm not even a year in yet, no.
Right. And by the way, it's just so that people know that you and I are talking, this is actually October 25th, but the show won't show up for another number of weeks, so anything we say here that might change. But yeah, it's less than a year that you've been doing this. So what have you accomplished in this year?
Well, in the first year, one of the things that I'm really excited about that we've done is in May, we started doing electronic recording. It hasn't fully caught up yet, but we're getting more and more documents through this method every week.
What does the electronic recording mean?
Well, as I said before, traditionally the documents come in over the counter or through the mail.
Yes.
So a title company, a real estate attorney, they would have to work up the documents, mail them in the mail, which could take a number of days depending on where they're mailed from. We receive the documents, check it over. If it's missing something, we have to look at the document, send it back to them to get corrected, which could take another few days. Then they have to make the corrections and mail it back again. So this whole process could take a week to 10 days to get completed. In
the meantime, the property really isn't in the new person's name. It's still in the old person's name.
Yes. In the meantime, it's really not. Well, yeah, it's not transferred over. The new documents for really right now the things we're doing in e-recording are more for refinancing and things of that nature, mortgages and mortgage releases. We're not allowed to take deeds yet because the state hasn't found a way to accept that electronic recording stamp, which is a tax stamp.
That's interesting.
So we don't have a way yet to do the transfer tax.
So you're just working with financial documents?
Right now we're working with financial documents.
But not the actual deeds themselves?
No deeds at this point in time. We're hoping to get to that point in the future, but we're not quite sure when that's going to be available to us.
Well, there we go. The word deed, people hear this. What's a deed?
The deed is the actual document of transfer. So the deed is the document that takes a piece of property and transfers it from one person to another.
Do people have, or are they supposed to have a document at their house that says, I own this and here's my piece of paper, or it's just over at the recorder's office?
They can. A lot of people you'll find do not. When we receive a deed in the mail or over the counter, we tend to mail it back to a title company or real estate attorney. There are times when we mail it back to the individual, and then it's on the title company or the attorney to get it back to the individual. And oftentimes, for whatever reason, a property owner doesn't have their deed, whether they never received it or if they've lost it for some reason. A lot of times they don't have it. But we always have a copy of it, so if anyone would ever need a copy of their deed, they can come up and we can make one for them.
Does that cost them?
We print copies for $1 a page. So most deeds are 5 pages or less.
So it's not just nominal fee then?
Just nominal fee. We can certify a copy that is that it's the original copy of a deed for $12, and that would be just a flat $12 fee no matter the number of pages.
Now, when I first started coming up there just to look around, because I found it interesting, you know, there were people in the office I could ask questions of. You know, they'd give me some assistance, or some of the title searchers for the title companies. You could talk to them, some of them. Some of them weren't friendly at all. But all in all, I mean, I never had to pay a dime, you know, to go in there and do research. Is that still the case, or is there a charge for being in there?
No, there's no charge for being in there. Our vault, as we call it, is open to the public. People can come in and view any records that they want between the hours of 8:30 and 4:30 when we're open.
And do you give people help to learn how to do this thing if they want to look through the records themselves?
Yeah, people need assistance. We're always there to offer a hand in helping them locate what they need.
And there's no restriction. It's not like they have to be looking for something on their name. They can just...
No, they could be looking for something in their neighbor's name. They could be looking for something in their grandfather's name,
or just look around at how a certain neighborhood developed.
Yeah, they could do all of those things. And we do have all the subdivision plats of how things were laid out and subdivided. They can come and look at those and view all of that information as well.
I just found it fascinating how, you know, all this land. I mean, you know, you've got this huge amount of land that. Here in Illinois, when it became a state, you know, there's big chunks of land, and then it just got more and more subdivided as time went by.
It is interesting to see how things get divided into townships, and they get divided into towns and cities, and then the cities get developed into neighborhoods, and it is very interesting to see how these things have come about and how we've gotten to the point that we have gotten. And it's a big part of our history, and it's something that we need to work hard to preserve.
Which is why you said you had genealogy people coming there too.
Yes, people interested in wanting to know, you know, about a piece of land that their great-great-grandfather owned, and how it got to the point that it was, how it got subdivided, or how long it's been in their family.
All the sons got a slice off of it, and then their kids got a slice off of it.
Yep, it's very, very interesting. We also do record veterans' discharge papers in our office. And those are not available to public view, but we do have them there as a service to veterans.
Oh, really? So they can just bring their, what is
it's a DD 214.
Yeah, the 214s, and they just bring that in. So that way it doesn't get lost.
Yeah, just in case something would happen, whether it would get lost moving, or whether a disaster would come around. Oh, gotta go and record it, and we'll have it on file for you.
I gotta go find it now.
Well, the federal government can get you a copy, I think. It might take a while, but they can get you one.
Yes. Well, they got that new record center over in St. Louis. They used to be on Page, but I think they've moved it.
They moved it around. I think that...
Didn't they just have something not that long ago on where Charlie Dooley was out there talking about, here's our new building?
I think they did, yeah. It should make it easier for you to get that, Lee. You might want to look into that.
Yeah, I might. And then I'll have to come and get that recorded, so that when I'm old and grayer,
you might need to go.
then you know, I can at least get whatever veterans benefits, and that's what this is all about.
That's what it's about. A lot of people come in
so that you can prove that you were a vet and get the benefits that you were entitled to.
Yes, and we record that. There's no charge to record. There's no charge to make certified copies. It's all available to any veteran who needs it at this point in time. We have a number of new veterans that are coming in and recording these things every day, and they're a wonderful, wonderful group of people. These new men and women who have come over and recently served overseas haven't met a more polite group of people to deal with. Even when things aren't in order for them, it rolls right off. They're wonderful people to deal with.
How do they know to come to you? I mean, I didn't know or think to even record that document. Are they being told to, or?
They're being told to. Our Veterans Affairs Department lets people know to come to us.
Take your DD before it gets lost,
you know where it is.
and or misfiled. Bring it down there and make sure that you got it preserved.
Yes, exactly. And we have veterans discharge records date back before the Civil War. So you go back and look at those things. It's very interesting as well to see men who were in the Civil War and to see what they had done and where they had been, and it's just very interesting.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of good playing area in there. That I mean, a lot of good things to learn about. I shouldn't say play. I mean, it's very important work to make sure that all these records are kept straight. Do you also handle like marriage records? You have those there too?
We have some marriage records and birth certificates. If they're married in Madison County or if they're born in Madison County, the county clerk has those records. But if they're from outside Madison County, were born in another county or born in another state, or they were married overseas or something of that nature, people going to get married in Mexico, they'll come and bring a translated copy of their marriage certificate so they'll know where they can find it in case they lose it or something like that might happen.
Oh, that's interesting. So anybody that wants to bring a document that they want permanently to, this way it's on you. You have to keep these records over there in that cave in Utah.
Yep, we'll keep these official documents on file.
So then from then on, if they lose their original, then they can get another certified copy from you.
They get a certified copy that is just as good as the original.
Explain what that certified means.
What certified means is when we get the document, we record the original document. And we know it's the original document.
Now you don't keep that document, do you?
We do not keep the document. We send it back to, if somebody were to come and say, bring in their marriage certificate, we would send the marriage certificate back to the couple who recorded it, and they would keep the original. We would have a copy of it on file, and when we do a certified copy, we're just certifying that we're giving them a copy of the original document.
Right. So this is a true copy of a true document.
Yes.
Right. And do you get? I mean, how much business do you do?
We do quite a bit. With people just requesting documents for, they want to get a permit or something for an update to do to their house. They'll have to come in and get a copy of their deed. We do a lot of business that way. We do a lot of recording, of course, of mortgages, deeds, things of that nature. Things are slowing down, as we know.
I was just going to ask, have refis and purchases and sales, has that slowed down a lot, or in Madison County, or about the same as it has been over the last year or two?
We're seeing a lot of refis. The last 3 years, we've seen a decline in the total number of documents filed. So we're seeing a decline in the number of deeds. Last year, I think we did 8,800 deeds. As of September, we had done just over 6,100 up to September of this year. So if we look at that going out for the rest of the year, we are going to record fewer documents.
Foreclosures come through you too?
Foreclosures do come. Foreclosures have been fairly steady the last 3 years. We haven't really seen a spike or a decline in those things. But
in Madison County, how many foreclosures are we looking at?
How many foreclosures are we looking at?
Yeah. On a yearly basis.
On a yearly basis, we're looking at 1,000 to 1,200 foreclosure notices of foreclosure served.
How many parcels of property do you know?
Oh, off the top of my head, I can't speak to how many parcels we have. It's
a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Our population in Madison County, we're in the top 10 in population in the state. We have 269,000 roughly people, and it's
well. See, now
county.
The people over on the other side of the river, they go like 259,000. A little community there, but it's really not. I mean,
no, when you look at throughout the rest of the state, Madison County is one of the larger counties in Southern Illinois. Madison and St. Clair.
Well, Metro East is the, I think it's the fastest growing area in outside of Chicago, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's the largest area outside of Chicagoland too. So it's got the largest population. We have more than 500,000 people in the Madison and St. Clair counties. So
again, what you decided you wanted to be in serving people. What made you choose the recorder's office?
Oh, I don't really know what made me choose a recorder. I think it was an office that I felt I could win and bring my experience as a clerk, dealing with records and things there, with my education. I felt that it was a good fit for me. I just felt it was a good place to go and a good place to start my longer career.
Yeah, well, I was also going to ask, I mean, in addition to being, somebody who's dealing with, a very, very technical, this is a very technical thing that you're doing here. Some clerks have been in that office for what, like decades, actually.
Yes.
Is that your intention to hang in there, or do you have aspirations to other political offices? And I know that's a tough question to ask. Nobody wants to say, yeah, this is just a stepping stone to the next thing. But I mean, do you have an idea of what you want to do with yourself as you get older?
I'd like to stay in this job for a little while and see what I can do and try to update things and work on preserving the records. Try to get some of those older records digitized. That would be a long-term goal of mine in this job.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
That would be neat. Get some of the books and the actual, you could go on and see a page from a deed book from 1835 and see the actual page on a digital image on the internet. I think that would be a great thing to do.
I mean, is this like a really expensive project to do?
Yes, this is a very expensive project.
I mean, how much money would it take to get all those old books on there approximately, or have you figured that out?
I've gotten different quotes on it. Some companies quote the microfilm at $45 a reel, and we have thousands of reels. So it's
and how many pages on a reel?
Oh, there's,
I mean,
1,800 pages on a reel.
Okay, so you can put a lot on there.
You put a lot on a reel, and it's recently I did get a quote. It was around $125,000 just to get the microfilm done.
It's not too bad.
It's not. If we can break it up,
you just need
over
to talk to the board and just ask for that extra 125 grand.
That's something that we'll have to look at in the future, and hopefully things will get better and more real estate will start to sell and move in Madison County, and those will be the things that we can look at then, because we run on fees, recording fees. That's how my office runs. So when the properties are being transferred, the numbers of recordings are down, then we don't have the dollars to do some of these things that we want to do. So in the future, if we can, start recording more documents, if the economy gets better and things start to move, we could look at doing some of those things. But right now we're kind of in a holding pattern on doing some of these major projects.
In the last minute or two that we have here, I told you time goes by fast.
It does go by fast.
Is there anything we haven't covered that you wanted to tell the audience?
Well, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that our office is open to the public. Please come in, visit us, see what we do. Come and get your deed. Look it over, know what it's about, know what goes into making that property yours.
They can get the deed even if there's still a mortgage on the property, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
A deed is not like a car title. You'll get your deed. You can get your deed the minute that you close on your house. And then the mortgage is the note. Once the note's paid off, they'll send notice to the recorder's office that note has been paid.
And then what happens to that mortgage the mortgage's been recorded with you. We got about 30 seconds here. About what happens to that mortgage once they notify you that hey, it's paid?
Well, a release of a mortgage goes on file that is tied. It has a number that ties it to the original mortgage, and then that will show that mortgage has been paid off.
But it's not like it comes out of, they don't rip it out of the book or anything. It's still there.
It stays there.
It just says that, well,
it's a mortgage of record.
You owe money, now it's paid.
Yep, you owe money, now you don't owe money. Yeah.
Right, and so then now you have clear title to property.
Then we have clear title to property.
Right. Thanks so much for being with us today. Very much appreciate your being with us.
Well, thank you, Lee.
And I've been speaking with the recorder of the Madison County Recorder's Office. And Mr. Rice said that if you want to come down there and take a look, do it. So the rest of you, we'll see you next week. Thanks.